Previously on this channel, I've talked about having a healthy online diet where we consume content that actually serves us. Today, we're doing a more specific topic where it's going to be more rambly and without video chapters. However, I think it's something that needs to be talked about more, and it's something that can have a huge impact on our mental health. It is the decision whether or not to watch the news. When I do almost anything throughout the day, I ask myself a few things. Is this important? Is this what I should be doing? Does it serve me? Does it make me feel, happier and more fulfilled? When I apply this mental model to watching the news, it doesn't really seem to fit. Because what the news talked about and the way in which it talked about it doesn't really influence us in our day-to-day lives, or at least positively anyway. Additionally, the topics the news talks about and the way they talk about it usually causes us to feel, anxious and distressed. Even if you are a reasonably calm and mindful person, it will only be a matter of news articles about people being robbed or murdered until your cortisol levels increase to a point where your view on reality is kind of distorted. Because globally, statistically, roughly from year to year, even though reports of theft and vandalism and murder go down generally, the news makes it seem like things are getting worse every single year. And this is principally one of the reasons why I don't trust the news, because like anything on social media, it makes money by grabbing your attention by any means necessary. And unfortunately, the news is just like any other social media platform where some people use clickbait strategies to get your attention, even if it's at the cost of your own well-being. Do I feel sorry for the things that happen to people? Yeah, of course, I'm not a heartless human being. But if the news talks about a story about Susan who lives down in Cornwall who gets robbed, then I'm not probably going to call up this woman and ask if she's okay. She'll probably be really freaked out. She doesn't know who I am. The point I'm trying to drive home here is the extra slither of awareness that we get from about topics that we can't solve is not worth the stress and anxiety we get from reading these clickbaity articles. Again, sometimes it's not even awareness. Because the news is so negative, it probably distorts our view of the world and actually probably encourages mistrust sometimes. But for some reason, I feel bad when I say all of this, because the news makes it seem like all of this is my problem when all I want to do is have a happy life. Do I want to make a difference in the world? Yeah. Once I am financially sustainable, do I want to give money to the GiveWell Foundation? Yeah, of course. Do I want to be a physiotherapist and work in medicine to some capacity to alleviate pain and discomfort from patients? Absolutely. Do I want to use YouTube and social media as a platform to educate people to improve the world in that way? Yes, of course. But considering the news talks about such negative topics, or even topics in such a negative light, I don't believe watching the news is the best way to spend my time, not only to make the world a better place, but also for my own mental health. Moving on to a different point, the news and politics are related. And from what I've seen of politicians, I'm very much disappointed. I don't doubt that many members of parliament are, capable people who want to make a positive difference. But as civil servants to the United Kingdom, the lack of integrity and professionalism that I have seen on occasion is, borderline shameful. And I don't believe that they are held accountable nearly as much as they should be at times. And while I can appreciate that politicians are held under the spotlight a lot more than the general public, watching their lack of integrity genuinely makes my blood boil sometimes. But if politicians were to clear up their act, and if the news was portrayed in a different way, then I would probably feel a bit differently about this. To kind of wrap up this ramble, I think there is definitely utility to being informed about the main global events that's going on in our lives. However, I don't think the pros outweigh the cons to watching the news in this instance, and I don't believe that many people watching the news, especially the ones making these negative clickbaity titles, are putting people's mental health first. However, I do believe there are alternatives, and there are ways on different platforms to watch the news from a more objective point of view, such as the YouTube channel TLDR News that covers British news and I believe global news a lot better than actual news channels. Well, if you enjoyed this video though, then I did a video here where I talk about the more general idea or concept about having a healthy online diet. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you there. Adios amigos.